If he marries your mother, Marge, we'll be brother and sister. And then our kids, they'll be horrible freaks with pink skin, no overbites, and 5 fingers on each hand.
Freaky. The 1932 film Freaks was hated by many. The UK banned it for 30 years, and one woman sued the studio, claiming it caused her to suffer a miscarriage. The director, who had traveled with the circus, cast real sideshow performers, including little people, conjoined twins, bearded ladies, microcephalics, and limbless sideshow actors. The studio treated them like crap during production. Not wanting to see them in the cafeteria, they were relegated to a tent to eat. The original ending, where the male villain is castrated and the female was swarmed, her tongue and legs cut off, was edited out by the studio and is now lost forever. It has still become a very important cult classic. In Freaks, the sideshow performers are shown doing regular things, lighting a cigarette, having a baby, getting married. The quote-unquote normal people are the grotesque ones. Freaky! What truly makes a video super freaky? Let's examine 3 recent clips. First, a man in Chile was swallowed by a humpback whale. Pretty scary, but in truth, a whale eats very small fish, and its throat is the size of a grapefruit, so he wasn't in any real danger. 4 Rick James heads. Next, this robot is the world's first musculoskeletal android. It has thousands of microfibers that move its limbs. Definitely freaky. One commenter said, "Please tell me the average human could kill this with a bat." And the CEO of the company responded, "You can stab it with a fork and it will bleed out." Yikes. 7.5 Rick James heads. Finally, scientists gave mice woolly mammoth genes, hence the long hair. They would be freakier if they were the size of a mammoth. 5 Rick James heads. But the company wants to create a real woolly mammoth by 2028. That I would give 9.5. Freaky. One big freak accident. Mercedes Valentine, a former 25-year-old neuroscientist turned OnlyFans model, was traveling at high speeds on her motorcycle when she was hit by a swooping pigeon. She swerved, hit a parked car, flew through the air 260 feet past 6 houses from where she crashed. She lost 3 liters of blood getting to the hospital and sustained a broken nose, skull, as well as shattering pelvis and a smashed eye socket. She was in a coma for a week. When she woke up, she could remember her family and boyfriend's names, but everything else, including the accident, was gone.
Pretty fucked up.
Freaky.
Hey, check out that gross toe!
The Suriname toad is super flat, but that is not the freakiest part. Close your eyes for the next part if you have trypophobia, or if you ever want to sleep again. After mating, the fertilized eggs sink into the female toad's back. They grow there for 5 months until they decide to hatch, like the worst scene from a science fiction horror movie. Freaky. Grady Stiles was a freak show performer called Lobster Boy. Grady had a genetic condition called ectrodactyly, in which fingers and toes are fused together like a claw. Grady was a drunk and an asshole. He murdered his daughter's fiancé on the eve of her wedding because he didn't approve of him. However, because no prison could accommodate his condition, he was put on house arrest. Grady continued his reign of abuse on his wife, and finally she hired someone to kill him, a 17-year-old sideshow performer, for $1,500. The kid shot Grady 3 times in the head. Everybody in the community so hated Stiles that nobody would act as a pallbearer at his funeral. Freaky!
I wish I had your life.
I love a body swap movie as much as the next person, but they need to update the formula. Let me guess the plot. The swap happens by some random magic object or wish. The people that have been swapped look at the mirror and then scream. If they have swapped genders, they grab their junk, or boobs, or possibly look down their pants.
Martha, come look at my penis!
If it is a young person who is now old, they act really stupid. If it is the opposite, they act way too lame. There's usually a weird, underage sex thing about now that grosses the audience out. It ends up with a big event that the swap person can't handle, but does. Everybody learns something important, and they swap back. If you're gonna do a swap, you gotta go big. take some risks.
You just turn black and you can't switch back. Well, you gotta go and find out the rules. I think we're in the whiz.
Don't force the whiz thing.
Freaky!
I wish I were big. Enough to beat up my dickhead goth daughter.
And that's all there is to know about Freaky.
What am I?
Switch 'em up the movie.